Hey there everybody. Today is Friday, July 3rd. My name is Ryan. I am a CPA. I'm going to be talking about where your EIDL grant is. But first, if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and keep up to date with everything going on right now with the SBA. And also, please smash that like button. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you wouldn't mind commenting below on what your 4th of July plans are, because holy shit, it's already 4th of July. So let me know what you're doing this weekend, and let me know if you have any questions regarding the EIDL or the PPP. Okay, so first I'll start off with the EIDL grant and what it is. I'm sure everybody knows by now what it is, but just in case, some people might not know, it is a grant that you don't have to pay back. It is calculated based on how many employees you have, $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000. And if you are self-employed or a sole proprietor, even though you're not technically an employee, the SBA still considers you as the one employee and you should still get $1,000. If you maybe put 0 in that question for the application, I would call the SBA to update your application if you haven't received any correspondence from them yet, to make sure you put 1 employee. Also, this grant was supposed to be distributed to applicants within 72 hours of applying, and obviously that's not happening. So that's a little background of the EIDL grant. Now I'll talk about the timing a little bit between the loan and the grant. So recently, in the past month or so, my clients and many of you guys on YouTube have been receiving loan offers before receiving the grants. And you've been really worried about whether or not you even will receive the grants. And in my last video, I made a video, with the same title, Where's My EIDL Grants? And I'll have a link to that right here, maybe right here. We'll see, I don't do that often. But in that video, I think I said that I spoke with an SBA agent and they said that it will come as one deposit and you just pay back the difference of the loan versus the grant. And at this point, that was incorrect information. And what will happen now is you will actually still get 2 deposits. You'll get your loan offer and you'll get your grant deposit. The grant's supposed to come first, but as I understand it, it will come. They're just processing it slower than the loans. So if you get a loan offer and you didn't get a grant yet, then I would still hang tight because that's coming soon after. There are some things that might cause you to not qualify for the grants or the loan. So, the SBA says that you don't have to qualify for the loan in order to get the grants, but there are some things that would cause you to not be eligible for both. And one important thing is your business activity. It's like your industry that you practice in. There are several business activities that are not eligible for this program. And, just for reference, I'll read those off to you right now. Lending or investment concerns. These are like loan companies or lenders, multi-level sales, distribution, or pyramid concerns, speculative activities, nonprofit organizations that are not considered a private nonprofit, consumer and marketing cooperatives, not a small business concern, gambling concerns, casinos, racetracks, other things like that, businesses whose purpose for being is gambling. Those will not be eligible. Loan packagers, religious organizations, political or lobbying concerns, pawn shops, real estate developers, life insurance companies, concerns engaged in illegal activities. Obviously, if you're selling cocaine, you might not be eligible for the EIDL. Government-owned concerns with principals incarcerated or parole probation, concerns engaged with live performances of or the sale of products, services of a prurient sexual nature, businesses considered as hobbies, concerns not located in the declared disaster area, which in this case, everywhere in the US is the declared disaster area, concerns involved in change of ownership situations, and concerns established post-disaster. So those are some ineligible scenarios where you won't be eligible for either the grant or the loan. So I've been getting questions on how you can use the EIDL grants. Like, can you use it for anything you want? Or does it follow strict guidelines like the loan? In the CARES Act, it does mention that the grant is to be used in the same way as the loan, which is just for operating expenses. Here's the thing. If you get the grants and you don't sign any contract with the loan or anything, then you're not obligated to the SBA to allow them to review your books or for audits or to send them financial statements or that kind of thing. So as a CPA, I can't tell you to do something you're not supposed to. But I'll just say that you should use your funds for the purpose that it's intended to, which is for operating expenses. And also, it is super, super, super unlikely that the SBA will review or audit your books or anything like that if you don't get the loan. If you just get the grants, you're not signing any paperwork. So it's highly unlikely that the SBA will do anything about it. Now, I also have heard stories of people just saying they claim like over 10 employees, but they were contractors, that kind of thing. Let me remind you, that's illegal. You can't do that because contractors are not employees. And again, it's unlikely the SBA will do anything about it or find out about it because you didn't sign anything with them. They just gave you the money based on a declaration that you made and you certified that you were being honest, okay? So where is your EIDL grant? As I said before, I would just hang tight because your grant is most likely coming. As long as you're not an ineligible business activity. But there are some things that you can do to make sure that you have the best chance of getting your grant quicker. First is making sure your Experian credit report is not frozen, because the SBA will look at that before they issue a grant or a loan. So make sure it's not frozen. I know they say that you should get the grants regardless of your credit, but the fact that they need the credit report to move you along on the process means that if it's frozen, it's going to be held up. Second thing is make sure your business activity is not one of those ineligible ones. If you think you might have picked one of those by mistake, then I would contact the SBA and update your application if you have not received any correspondence yet. You also need to make sure you applied and had at least one employee noted in the question when asked how many employees your company has. I have a feeling they might still issue the grants even if you put 0. I would prefer that you have 1 in there as the answer. And so if you have doubts on what you put there, I would call the SBA, speak to a tier 2 agent, and get that updated to 1 employee. And the last thing you should do is make sure you have the correct bank information in there when you applied. Because I did have a client who put in the wrong bank information and they realized it like long after they applied. And what we did is we called the SBA and we just told them to update the bank information. So when you call the SBA, make sure you speak to a tier 2 agent, because those are the agents that can update applications. Tier 1 agents are working 24/7. Okay, they can answer general questions. They can maybe answer some general questions about your application, but a tier 2 agent will be able to make changes, and those people start working at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So probably the best time to call is right when they open. And other than that, if you have not received your EIDL grant, it is definitely worthwhile to check your state and local governments to see if they have any funding opportunities or grant opportunities for you. In Colorado, there are some around different counties and cities. So check with your state and local governments to make sure you are taking advantage of everything possible. Okay, now I'll read off some questions that I got from my last video on this topic that might be relevant to you. Jessica Rose says, what if you applied for both PPP and EIDL on the same day, or you haven't accepted either loan offer? Can you still get the grants? And the answer is yes, you can still get the grants. The PPP and the EIDL, you can have both at the same time. Just remember, the EIDL grants will reduce the amount of forgiveness of your PPP loan. So definitely keep that in mind. Sandra Black says, I was denied the EIDL for lack of credit. Does this mean I will not get the advance either? Sandra, you should still get the advance. If you still want the loan, I would file for a reconsideration, but you should still get the advance. And I know this because I have a client who was denied the loan and then subsequently received the advance. All right. Ken Moses says, where is the grant built into the loan written? I received a loan for $120,000 and nowhere does it say I owe $120,000 minus the grants. Yeah, if that was in my video, that was my mistake. You know, I was going off information that the SBA gave me, and it will definitely be two separate deposits for the grants and the loan. And it seems like the loan is processing much faster at this point than the grants. So sorry about that. All right, I think that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a great 4th of July weekend. Again, let me know what you're doing in the comments below. Stay safe out there. Don't start any fires. Don't get sick. And I'll see you on Monday. Take care.